Now, what does chocolate do? It actually helps the gut bacteria, by the way, also improves brain function. One medicine lowered the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. By the way, for every 1 point of blood pressure you lower with beet juice, you decrease the risk of stroke by 5%.
Dr. William Li is a world-renowned physician, scientist, and author of the best-selling book, Eat to Beat Disease. He's a pioneer in food as medicine research, focusing on how what we eat can fight disease, boost immunity, and improve overall health. With over 40 years of groundbreaking work, Dr. Li has contributed to more than 100 scientific publications and collaborated with leading health organizations worldwide.
Your body has everything that you need to stay fit, prevent disease, and recover from illness. These are called your 5 health defense systems, and there are hundreds of foods that science has shown that can activate these health defenses, and I study them. Best of all,
your brain is the command center of your body, and keeping it healthy is essential for a vibrant, stress-free life. But did you know that certain foods can actually heal your brain, reduce stress, and even help recover from strokes? Today, we're diving deep into the science of brain-healing foods, featuring insights from the incredible Dr. William Li.
You want to talk about heart health and brain health is stress, chronic stress, which, I've had as much as you guys, really puts an undue burden on our health. One thing it does, stress causes our adrenal glands, which sit on top of our kidneys, to release a lot of cortisol. It puts a demand on our heart beats faster. It also changes our microbiome. It wrecks our blood vessels, our circulation. It screws up our stem cells, and it lowers our immunity. It causes us to be more inflamed. So how do we actually lower stress? Well, it's not just food, it's lifestyle as well. So getting enough sleep, exercising lowers stress, being with friends and family safely, family, by the way, that you like, actually can lower stress. But I do want to share with you some interesting stuff. So eating this can actually help you lower stress as well. This is a bar of chocolate. This is 86% chocolate. Anything over 80 will actually do it. It's cacao, dark chocolate. I'll tell you, this is chocolate I helped to create with a friend of mine, Katrina Markov. She has figured out somehow how to make really dark chocolate, completely smooth, not bitter at all. And it's with Vosges chocolate, called a line of chocolate called Pure Plant. So research have actually studied healthy volunteers who are stressed out, and they measured their blood and their urine to look for stress markers. And what they did is they gave them dark chocolate, kind of like what I just showed you, dark chocolate to eat for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. And they found that when they measured in the blood and the urine for people who they ate chocolate, the stress markers, eating chocolate lowered cortisol, lowered adrenaline, and lowered these stress markers in their urine as well. And so high anxiety people can lower their stress markers by eating chocolate. Now, what does chocolate do? It actually also helps the gut bacteria, by the way, also improves brain function. And also really, really dark chocolate with cacao has fiber in it. So most people don't think about dark chocolate having fiber, but it actually does.
Certain foods are packed with bioactive compounds that reduce inflammation, improve blood flow, and even promote the growth of new brain cells. When we talk about brain healing, we're really looking at foods that enhance neurogenesis and neuroprotection.
Could we in the future deliver a dose of stem cells to the brain after a stroke in an effort to recover? Now, in animals in a lab, delivering stem cells will actually help the brain regenerate and recover from stroke. It'll protect it from having as much damage as might otherwise happen. So again, research is showing that stem cells play a role. Brain can regenerate, even human brains. Does it slowly. It would be great to optimize it. And we don't have that magic key to unlock how to optimize it. However, in China, which has a completely separate FDA, it's called the SFDA, the Sino FDA, they've already approved a regenerative substance that comes from a plant, Chinese celery. Chinese celery is very long, and it kind of droops. All right,
it's floppy.
It's also a lot more potent. It smells like celery. If you were to cut it up and stir fry it, it really has a really, really powerful celery taste to it. Actually, it's a delicious. I like to cook, so I always talk about this. It's got a delicious flavor to it. It really enhances a vegetable dish, for example, like a vegetable stir fry. That's what you want to do. There is actually a compound in there, a natural compound called nitrobutyl phthalate, NBP. In the lab, NBP delivered to animals who have had an experimental stroke will cause stem cells to come out to limit the damage and help of the stroke and also help the brain recover. So in China, they ran that clinical trials, phase 3 clinical trials. It worked like gangbusters. So now this is actually an approved treatment for stroke, plant-based substance, NBP, to treat stroke expressly for the goal, or I should say for the expressed goal, to be able to actually prompt brain regeneration. Now, here's another really cool research that this is really, really new. It was published in the journal Nature Medicine. There was a study from the Cleveland Clinic, which is a major medical center. Remember, I told you, all science-based information that's rigorously done, generating the evidence that you can trust because it's science. This was a study of 7 million people. That's a big study. They looked in the electronic medical records. They looked for diseases that these people had, of 7 million people, and they looked at the medicines they were having to see if there's any correlations. Was there any medicine that somebody was taking that might lower disease? Guess what they found? They found there was one medicine that lowered the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. Wow. In the study of 7 million people, no bias, just going in there and using a computer to figure out were there any medicines people were taking that lowered any disease? One medicine lowered the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. What was that medicine? Guess what? Viagra for erectile dysfunction. How would that work? Well, it turns out Viagra not only dilates the blood vessels in your genitals, okay, it also dilates the blood vessels in your brain, better circulation for your brain. And the way it dilates blood vessels, widens blood vessels, is through something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide stimulates stem cells to regenerate your organs. So not only do you have better blood flow in your brain, you also have more stem cells in your brain. Remember I told you about the Chinese celery and the stem cells to treat stroke? So now this is an interesting piece of research that asked what else could stimulate nitric oxide that might be able to stimulate stem cells, widen blood vessels, that might be able to do what we observe with Viagra. So this is actually an area of research I'm doing right now. Guess what? There's a food that will do that, and I will tell you what it is. Beets. Beets actually will grow low to the ground, and so does spinach, absorb a lot of nitrogen from the soil, and when you chew it, the gut bacteria that starts in your tongue microbiome, converts the nitrogen from the soil in the beet into a form that when you swallow it, gets absorbed into your bloodstream as nitric oxide. Does something very similar to Viagra without the genital effect, obviously.
Food isn't the only piece of the puzzle. Pair these brain-healing foods with regular exercise, quality sleep, and stress management practices like mindfulness to maximize your results. Your brain deserves the best care, and it starts with what you put on your plate. Incorporate these powerful foods into your daily routine and give your brain the love it needs to thrive. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips, and let us know how you're doing. What's your favorite brain-boosting food? Until next time, stay healthy and stay inspired.